Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jaya Pataka Swami Maharaj on January 11th, 2021 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Pangalangayate Yatchitatavan Vande Srigaram Dinasarinam Paranandamadavam Sri Chaitanya Isram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Compilation of the Sri Krishna Chaitanya book.
Compilation of Sri Krishna Chaitanya book. Lord Chaitanya visit Alarnath, Alalanath, Rivo.
প্রভুর আলালনাথ পথে দক্ষিণ যাত্রা। সমুদ্র তীরে তীরে আলালনাথ পথে সার্বভৌম কহিলেন আচার্য গোপীনাথে।
While the Lord was going along the path of Alalanath, which was located on the seashore, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave the following orders to Gopinath Acharya.
গোপীনাথ দ্বারা সার্বভৌমের চারখানা কৌপিন বহির্বাস গৃহ হইতে আনাইয়া প্রভুকে দান। চারি কৌপিন বহির্বাস রাখিয়াছি ঘরে, তাহা প্রসাদ অন্ন লইয়া আইস বিপ্র দ্বারে।
Bring the 4 sets of loincloths and outer garments I keep at home, and also some prasadam of Lord Jagannath. You may carry these things with the help of some brahmana.
রায় রামানন্দ সহ সাক্ষাৎকারের জন্য সার্বভৌমের প্রভুকে অনুরোধ। তবে সার্বভৌম কহে প্রভুর চরণে, অবশ্য পালিবে প্রভু মোর নিবেদনে।
While Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was departing, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya submitted the following at his lotus feet. My Lord, I have one final request that I hope you will kindly fulfill.
রামানন্দ রায় আছে গোদাবরী তীরে, অধিকারী হয়েন তেহ বিদ্যানগরে।
In the town of Vidyanagara, on the bank of the Godavari, there is a responsible government officer named Ramananda Rai. Purport. In the Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that Vidyanagara is today known as Porbandar. There is another Porbandar in western India in the province of Gujarat.
শূদ্র বিষয়ী জ্ঞানী উপেক্ষা না করিবে, আমার বচনে তারে অবশ্য মিলিবে।
Please do not neglect him, thinking he belongs to a Sudra family engaged in material activities. It is my request that you meet him without fail. Purport. In the Varnashrama Dharma, the Sudra is the 4th division in the social status. Paricharyatmakam karma sudrashyapi swabhavajam. Bhagavad Gita 18.44. Sudras are meant to engage in the service of the 3 higher classes, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. Sri Ramananda Rai belonged to the Karana class, which is the equivalent of the Kayastha class in Bengal. This class is regarded all over India as Sudra. It is said that the Bengal Kayasthas were originally engaged as servants of Brahmanas who came from North India to Bengal. Later, the clerical class became the Kayasthas in Bengal. Now, there are many mixed classes known as Kayastha. Sometimes it is said in Bengal that those who cannot claim any particular class belong to the Kayastha class. Although these Kayastha or Karanas are considered Sudras, they are very intelligent and highly educated. Most of them are professionals such as lawyers or politicians. Thus in Bengal, the Kayasthas are sometimes considered Satriyas. In Orissa, however, the Kayastha class, which includes the Karanas, is considered in the Sudra category. Srila Ramananda Rai belonged to this Karana class, therefore he was considered as Sudra. He was also the governor of South India under the regime of Maharaj Prataprudra of Orissa. In other words, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya informed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Ramananda Rai, although belonging to the Sudra class, was a highly responsible government officer. As far as spiritual advancement is concerned, materialists, politicians and Sudras are generally disqualified. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya therefore requested that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not neglect Ramananda Rai, who was highly advanced spiritually although he was born as a Sudra and a materialist. A Visayi is one who is attached to the family life and is interested only in wife, children and worldly sense gratification. The senses can be engaged either in worldly enjoyment or in the service of the Lord. Those who are not engaged in the service of the Lord, are interested only in material sense gratification, are called Visayi. Srila Ramananda Rai was engaged in government service and he belonged to the Karana class. He was certainly not a sannyasi in saffron cloth, yet he was in the transcendental position of a Paramahamsa's householder. Before becoming Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disciple, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya considered Ramananda Rai an ordinary Visayi because he was a householder engaged in government service. However, when the Bhattacharya was actually enlightened in Vaishnava philosophy, he could understand the exalted transcendental position of Sri Ramananda Rai. Therefore, he referred to him as Adhikari. An Adhikari is one who knows the transcendental signs of Krishna and is engaged in his service. Therefore, all Grihastha devotees are designated as Dashadhikari.
Since Lord Chaitanya taught
Since Lord Chaitanya taught
Jai Tata Veta, Jai Krishna Tata Veta, Jai Guru Hai, who knows the science of Krishna,
who knows the signs of Krishna
he is a Guru.
is a Guru.
So, Ramananda Rai,
So Ramananda Rai,
although he was born in a lower class,
although he was born in a lower class,
he knew the science of Krishna.
he knew the signs of Krishna.
And this is the thing that
So this is the thing that
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya
realized.
তোমার সঙ্গের যোগ্য তেহ একজন পৃথিবীতে রসিক ভক্ত নাহি তার সম.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued, Ramananda Rai is a fit person to associate with you. No other devotee can compare with him in knowledge of the transcendental mellows.
Ramananda Rai is said to be an incarnation of Visakha Devi.
Ramananda Rai is said to be an incarnation of Visakha Devi.
And as such, he knew the intimate aspects of the transcendental.
As such, he knew the intimate aspect of the transcendental mellows
And Radha and Krishna.
of Radha and Krishna.
পাণ্ডিত্য আর ভক্তিরস দুহের তেহ সীমা সম্ভাষিলে জানিবে তুমি তাহার মহিমা.
He is a most learned scholar as well as an expert in devotional mellows. Actually, he is most exalted, and if you talk with him, you will see how glorious he is.
পূর্বের বৈষ্ণবকে সম্বর্ধন অপেক্ষায় লঘু জ্ঞানে ভট্টের উপহাস। অলৌকিক বাক্য চেষ্টা তার না বুঝিয়া, পরিহাস করিয়াছি তারে বৈষ্ণব জানিয়া।
I could not realize when I first spoke with Ramananda Rai that his topics and endeavors were all transcendentally uncommon. I made fun of him simply because he was a Vaishnava. Anyone who is not a Vaishnava or an unalloyed devotee of the Supreme Lord must be a materialist. A Vaishnava living according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's injunctions is certainly not on the materialistic platform. Chaitanya means spiritual force. All of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities were carried out on the platform of spiritual understanding. Therefore, only those who are on the spiritual platform are able to understand the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Materialistic person cannot understand these activities and are generally known as karmis or jnanis. The jnanis are mental speculators who simply try to understand what is spirit and what is matter. Their process is neti-neti. This is not spirit, this is not Brahman. The jnanis are little more advanced than the dull-headed karmis, who are simply interested in sense gratification. Before becoming a Vaishnava, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a mental speculator, jnani, and being such, he always cut jokes with Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava never agrees with the speculative system of the jnanis. Both the jnanis and karmis depend on direct sense perception for their imperfect knowledge. The karmis never agree to accept anything not directly perceived, and the jnanis put forth only hypotheses. However, the Vaishnavas, the unalloyed devotees of the Lord, do not follow the process of acquiring knowledge by direct sense perception or mental speculation. Because they are servants of the Supreme Lord, devotees receive knowledge directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he speaks in it in the Bhagavad Gita, or sometimes as he imparts it from within as the Chaitya Guru. As Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Tesang satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. Those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. The Vedas are considered to have been spoken by the Supreme Lord. They were first realized by Brahma, who is the first created being within the universe. Tene Brahma Hirdayadikavaye. Our process is to receive knowledge through the Parampara system, from Krishna to Brahma, to Narada, Vyasa, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the 6 Goswamis. By disciplic succession, Lord Brahma was enlightened from within by the original person, Krishna. Our knowledge is fully perfect due to being handed from master to disciple. A Vaishnava is always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, and thus neither karmis or jnanis can understand the activities of a Vaishnava. It is said, Vaishnavera kriya mudra vijseha na bhujaya. Even the most learned man, depending on direct perception of knowledge, cannot understand the activities of a Vaishnava. After being initiated into Vaishnavism by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya realized what a mistake he had made in trying to understand Ramananda Rai, who was very learned and whose endeavor were all directed to rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord.
So, when Sarvabhauma
Bhattacharya
was practicing the system of Jnana Yoga,
were practicing the system of Jnana Yoga,
he could not appreciate
or or understand
the situation of Ramananda Rai.
the situation of Ramananda Roy.
After achieving devotional service,
After achieving devotional service,
he could understand that Ramananda Rai
you could understand that Ramananda Roy
was very exceptional devotee.
was very exceptional devotee.
And so he was advising Lord Chaitanya
So he was analyzing Lord Chaitanya
to see him.
to see him.
পরে চৈতন্য কৃপায় চিন্ময় বৈষ্ণব মহিমা উপলব্ধি তোমার প্রসাদে এবে জানিনু তার তত্ত্ব সম্বাসিলে জানিবে তার যেমন মহত্ব
The Bhattacharya said, "By your mercy, I can now understand the truth about Ramananda Roy. In talking with him, you also will acknowledge his greatness."
প্রভুর তৎকাপ্পলনে সম্মতি অঙ্গীকার করি প্রভু তাহার বচন তারে বিদায় দিতে তারে কইল আলিঙ্গন
Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's request that he meet Ramananda Roy. Bidding Sarvabhauma farewell, the Lord embraced him.
প্রভু কর্তৃক বৈষ্ণব গৃহস্থকে সম্মান ঘরে কৃষ্ণ ভজি মরে করিহ আশীর্বাদে নীলাচলে আসি যেন তোমার প্রসাদে
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the Bhattacharya to bless him while he engaged in the devotional service of Lord Krishna at home, so that by Sarvabhauma's mercy the Lord could return to Jagannath Puri. Purport. The word Kariha Ashirvade means continue to bestow your blessing upon me. Being a sannyasi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the fourth order of life and thus due all respect and adoration, whereas Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as a householder was in the second order. The sannyasi is supposed to offer blessings to a grihastha. Yet now, by his practical behavior, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested the blessing of a grihastha. This incident shows the special significance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching. He gave equal status to everyone, regardless of material considerations. His movement is thoroughly spiritual. Although apparently a grihastha, householder, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was, unlike the so-called karmis, interested in sense gratification. After being initiated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Bhattacharya was perfectly situated in the spiritual order. Therefore, it was quite possible for him to offer blessings even to a sannyasi. He was always engaged in the service of the Lord, even at home. In our disciplic line, we have the example of a perfect householder Paramahamsa, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In his book Sharanagati, Bhaktivinoda Thakur states, Yedina grihe bhajana dekhi grihete goloka bhaya. Sharanagati 31.6. Whenever a householder glorifies the Supreme Lord in his home, his activities are immediately transformed into the activities of Golok Vrindavan. Spiritual activities taking place in the Goloka Vrindavan planet of Krishna. Activities exhibited by Krishna himself at Bhauma Vrindavan, the Vrindavan Dham existing on this planet, are not different from his activities on the planet Goloka Vrindavan. This is proper realization of Vrindavan anywhere. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we inaugurated the new Vrindavan activities, wherein devotees are always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord, and this is not different from Goloka Vrindavan. The conclusion is that one who acts strictly in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is competent to offer blessings to sannyasis, even though he be a grihastha householder. Although he is an exalted position, A sannyasi still must elevate himself to the transcendental platform by rendering service to the Lord. By his actual behavior, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu begged the blessing of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. In this way, he set the example of how one should expect blessings from a Vaishnava regardless of his social position.
So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
was showing that his spiritual movement
his spiritual movement
was beyond the Varnashrama.
is beyond the Varnashrama.
And that people are being exalted
And people by being exalted Vaishnava
were able to give blessings to everyone.
were able to give blessings to everyone.
So it's very important
So it is very important
that we understand
that we understand
that actual perfection of life
the actual perfection of life
is to be a devotee of the Lord,
is to be the devotee of the Lord,
a Vaishnava.
Vaishnava.
And the external Varna is secondary.
And the external Varna is secondary.
Actual thing that is important
The actual thing that is important
is one's position as a devotee of the Lord.
is the position of being a devotee of the Lord.
প্রভুর যাত্রা ও সার্বভৌমের মূর্ছা এত বলি মহাপ্রভু করিলা গমন মূর্ছিত হইয়া তাহা পড়িলা সার্বভৌম.
Saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed on his tour, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately fainted and fell to the ground. Murari Gupta Paksha. Since Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya
was feeling such separation from the Lord,
was feeling such separation from the Lord,
as soon as the Lord departed, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fainted on the ground.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fainted on the ground.
Such is the unalloyed devotion for Lord Chaitanya.
Such is the unalloyed devotion for Lord Chaitanya. Murari Gupta Kaksha 3.14.1. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was so disturbed by Gauranga's departure that he fainted on that very spot. Similarly, the hearts of all the other devotees were very much perturbed.
নিরপেক্ষ প্রভু তারে উপেক্ষা কইল শীঘ্র গমন কে বুঝিতে পারে মহাপ্রভুর চিত্ত মন.
Although Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fainted, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not take notice of him. Rather, he left quickly. Who can understand the mind and intention of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Purport. It was naturally expected that when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fainted and fell to the ground, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have taken care of him and waited for him to regain consciousness, but he did not do so. Rather, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately started on his tour. It is therefore very difficult to understand the activities of a transcendental person. Sometimes they may seem rather odd, but a transcendental personality remains in his position, unaffected by material considerations.
I saw in several incidents like this,
So in some of the incidents, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya
at this time, other times,
and other times,
Gadadhar Prabhu, they would faint in separation of the Lord.
They would faint in separation of the Lord.
Sometimes the Lord would stop.
Sometimes the Lord would stop.
Sometimes they go on.
Sometimes they go on.
If the Lord stopped,
If the Lord stopped,
whenever someone fainted,
Whenever someone fainted
in separation,
in separation,
he never go
he can never go
because it's very common.
because it's very common.
And he inspired such love amongst his devotees.
That he inspired such a love amongst his devotees.
So he would proceed
So he would proceed
in his transcendental way.
in his transcendental way.
মহানুভাবের চিত্তের স্বভাব এই হয়, পুষ্প সম কোমল কঠিন বজ্রময়।
This is the nature of the mind of an uncommon personality. Sometimes it is soft like a flower, but sometimes it is as hard as a thunderbolt. Purport: the softness of a flower and the hardness of a thunderbolt are reconciled in the behavior of a great personality. The following quotation from Uttara Ramacharita 2.7 explains this behavior. One may also consult the Madhya Lila 3rd chapter verse 212.
পরস্পর বিরুদ্ধ ধর্মের সমাশ্রয় ভগবানের ন্যায় ভগবৎ ভক্তও কোমল ও কঠোর। ভবভূতিকৃত উত্তর রামচরিতে তৃতীয়াঙ্কে 2:7-23-16। বজ্রাদপি কঠোরানি মৃদুনি কুসুমাদপি লোকোত্তরানাং চেতাসিং কহি বিজ্ঞাতমীশ্বর।
The hearts of those above common behavior are sometimes harder than a thunderbolt and sometimes softer than a flower. How can one accommodate such contradictions in great personality?
নিত্যানন্দ প্রভু ভট্টাচার্যে উঠাইল, তার লোক সঙ্গে তারে ঘরে পাঠাইল।
Lord Nityananda Prabhu raised Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and with the help of his men saw him to his home.
So, we'll end here.
We will end here
How Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fainted and Lord Nityananda
how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fainted and Lord Nityananda
helped him to get up
helped him to get home
and send some of his devotees
and sent some of his devotees with him
to his house.
to his house.
So, Lord Chaitanya,
So Lord Chaitanya,
he was this uncommon personality.
he was an uncommon personality.
Sometimes he softened the flower,
Sometimes he is as soft as a flower,
sometimes harder than a thunderbolt.
sometimes harder than the thunderbolt.
So, in the independent Lord,
So being an independent Lord,
he had to manifest his pastimes
he has to manifest his pastimes
and required that kind of determination.
and required a kind of determination.
So, since I have to do various kinds of
Since I have to do various kinds of
protocols and
and
things
treatments
for my health,
for my health,
so I have to end here
so I have to end here.
and I'll start tomorrow.
We'll start tomorrow.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.